Very alliterative, Des. It's a case of YouTube made me buy it. A non-shimmer, you know what I mean? I think we might just get rid of that one. Sorry, Charlotte. I do love you, but I don't love those palettes. Right, how many palettes do you think are in here? I know it's impossible to say, really, and I don't really know, but I would hazard a guess probably about 20. And how many of those do I actually use? Probably about 5. So let's find out what's in the box and see what we're going to keep and what we're going to get rid of. Now, the one that comes straight to the top is my Morphe Madison Beer Channel Surfing Artistry palette. And I talked about this in my top 3 products of everything recently. So I won't go into too much detail about that, but I will link that down below for you. I absolutely love this palette. It's very grubby. Sorry about that. But, it's got the most fabulous colours, and as you can see, it's quite well used, or at least some of the colours are. And the pigment is amazing, and it's just a really great palette. Now, just to let you know, of course, this has been discontinued, but I would say that if this palette is anything to go by, Morphe does pack a punch in terms of pigment. Right, the next palette I've got here is the Sigma Hazy Eyeshadow palette, which I bought about 2 years ago, I think. Now, I don't know, it's a lovely palette. It's got really great plummy colours. And again, the pigment's great. Let me just swatch a couple for you so you can see. Look at that fantastic colour. Actually, do you know what? As I do this, I'm thinking, why have I not used this palette before? Look at that density of pigment there. It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? So I think I will keep this palette. I just need to remember that I've got the blooming thing. Okay, what have we here? Now, we have this E.L.F. The New Classics. Now this, ooh, I've hardly touched this actually, it's terrible, look. What a lovely palette that is, isn't that nice? It's quite autumnal, I'd say. Seems an awful shame not to use it, and I wonder why I haven't used it actually. I suppose because it's got quite a lot of shimmers, and I'm not really a shimmer girl. I've never really got on with shimmers. And also the colours are very warm on the whole. There's not many cool colours in there. So I think that's probably why I haven't used it. So I think I might see if I can find a good home for it rather than keeping. So I think this will be one that I won't keep. And here's another palette that I don't think I'm going to keep. It's a Wet n Wild Colour Icon, which again, if I could open it, its colours are too warm. This is the trouble with palettes that have so many pans in them. There's really only 1 or 2 colours that I tend to like. Now this colour is beautiful. Look at this. And great pigment. Look at that. Fantastic. And also this one. But otherwise, and maybe that one actually at a pinch, but otherwise not really interested in the rest of the colours. So I think I'm going to declutter that one as well. If only you could move them from one palette to another. In fact, I think you probably could, but I'm not kind of that, you know, fussed about it really. I've probably got so many duplicates of similar colours anyway. But yes, lovely palette. And actually, if my fab friend Tina from Tina's Beautiful Journey were down the road, I would give them to her because I'm sure she would put them to good use. And in fact, I think she did a palette decluttering video recently, so I'll link that down below for you. But unfortunately, Tina's in another country, across the sea, across the briny. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to pass this on to her. But anyway, Tina, if you're watching and you haven't got the Wet n Wild Colour Icon, I probably shouldn't be suggesting this to you because I know you don't want to buy too many more palettes. But anyway, what do you think? Let me know. Now, sticking with drugstore, I've got 3 of these little mini E.L.F. palettes, which I'm sure you've all seen many people talk about. And I bought them, gosh, I did a video, I think, on E.L.F. ages ago, and not long after I started my channel, I think. I just don't reach for them, really. This one, the Berry Bad, ooh, it's just too shimmery. The pigment's great, but again, I'm not a shimmery girl, so that's no good to me. This one is I think a lot of people have got this one, haven't they? It is the I Love You a Latte, that's right. I'm sure I know many of my YouTube buddies have got this. But again, it's just not really for me. The brown, this dark brown is probably the only colour I would use, but not really, yeah, not really my sort of colours. And then this one, unfortunately, broke. It arrived like that. And again, there's only one, oh gosh, see, it's already dropping. There's only one shade in here, which I think is the darkest one over there. which would be right for, oh no, sorry, this one here, which is the matte one. The others are all shimmers again, which are not really my bags. I'll probably have to chuck that one away because of the loose powder in it. We've got another e.l.f. Now this one I did quite like. It's called Rose Gold Nude. Let me just show it to you. Now I have used this, but again, too many shimmers for my cup of tea. It is definitely more my panoply of colours, if you like. Where did I pull that one out of? And I think the pigment is quite good. Let me show you. But you see, there's so many shimmers. Look, this one, lovely colour, but it's too shimmery for me, really. Although it's funny, as I look at them, I'm beginning to wonder whether I could give it a go. I mean, these are beautiful colours. Do you know what? I think we might keep this one because we haven't kept the other e.l.f. ones, and give it a go. And now that I'm cutting down on the number of palettes, I'll at least be able to see these more regularly and then hopefully reach for them. Ah, yes, the Stone Cold Fox palette. Honestly, this is a case of YouTube made me buy it, and I'm afraid I regret it really because it's just not my sort of palette. I mean, first of all, how many colours are there? I mean, how many am I going to use? I know that most of my YouTube friends love this palette. And it took me a long time to even get it because I had to order it from the States and you have to pay shipping and blah, blah, blah. This was again about 18 months ago or so. And I just don't get on with it really. I don't find the pigments all that brilliant. I mean, I will swatch them for you. In fact, look, I can see this colour here looks rather similar to one of the ones in the e.l.f. palette. But anyway, I'll swatch a couple for you if you are one of the few women who haven't actually seen anybody talk about this palette. And of course, as I swatch them, they're going to come out nice and strong. And I just said they're not. So yeah, relatively strong. I wonder whether it's partly to do with the colour of my skin, that they just don't show up as well as I would like them. So I'm definitely not going to keep this palette. I'm definitely going to find a good home for it. So I think we're doing quite well. We've so far decluttered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. And we've kept 3. So not bad. So that's 8 so far. My maths is correct. Right, let's carry on. So the next one we've got is a Bobbi Brown. Now Bobbi Brown, I think they are really the first sort of palettes that I bought. I think I made this one up myself. This isn't that old. Although it may, well, I have sort of hit pan on a couple of them. Now when Bobbi Brown started, or came to this country, and I think it was about, when was it? It must be in the early 90s. I thought, hallelujah, because I thought, oh, this is amazing, because all the colours were nice and muted. They weren't very strong colours because I've got olivey type skin. I tend to not suit anything too bright and too punchy. And these were very muted colours. So the foundations and the lipsticks and the eyeshadows were all right up my alley. Because actually, if you think about it, Bobbi Brown and I are probably a bit similar in colouring, although I think she's got brown eyes and mine are green, but we're not that dissimilar. We've both got dark hair, etc. So anyway, I think these colours were nice, but now actually, interestingly, I find them a little bit insipid. I mean, they have got quite a good pigment. Let me see if I can show you, but it's not massive. This brown is a nice shade. Oh yeah, not bad. And this sort of lilac-y mauvey shade. So the pigments are pretty good. They're just not very exciting. So I don't know. I think I probably will keep this, partly because it's Bobbi and I've always worn her makeup for so many years. It's only lately I've started to branch out in the last few years. So I probably will keep this one. And of course, back in the day, we used to wear the stone colour as a, well, not a transition shade, but we used to put it all over and then particularly under the brow bone actually, and then sort of build up colour after that, didn't we? So yeah, maybe I will keep this one for now. Now, talking of Bobbi, I've actually got these 5 little pans. So I've got chocolate caviar, saddle, heather, taupe, and hot stone. And they are all variations of browns. I'll just show you a couple. You can see, I think my most favourite one, or my most used one, was saddle. This one here. But honestly, in fact, let me just show you all of them. I'm just going to show you all of them quickly. So this is hot saddle. This is Hot Stone. This says it's taupe, but I don't think it is. I think I may have swapped them round because that doesn't look anything like taupe, does it? That's much too brown, but anyway, it says it's taupe. This one is Heather. And this one is Chocolate Caviar. That's a great colour actually, isn't it? Yeah, that is a really good colour. I think actually we will keep these because they'll be useful for travelling. If you just need something for a one and done. I suppose they just don't excite me very much, which I suppose is a feature of the fact that I've been using more palettes. Having said that I don't like too many colours in a palette. Maybe I do like a balance. Maybe I like a quad or a quint or something. So I think I will keep these, partly for nostalgia and partly because I might actually use them because I found them again. I forgot. I've got this other one. I thought it was a bit odd. This is Slate and this is a little round one. Yes, now this one I used to use on my eyebrows. In fact, I still do use a colour a bit similar to this. So I think we'll keep that one as well. Another Bobbi Brown. Completely forgot about this one. Now this one, I remember buying this about 10 years ago. It's a luxe eyeshadow in Rich Metal. Look at that beautiful colour, but I probably wouldn't wear this anymore because it's got shimmer in it. I think it was back in the day when I was still going to events. Beautiful colour. Maybe I should keep it for nostalgia reasons, but I don't know. It's not really been used very much in a very, very pretty case. So, don't know. Maybe I'll keep it. Not doing terribly well on the decluttering at the moment. Now, this is a very nice palette by Beauty Pie. It's one of the few palettes from Beauty Pie that I actually liked, and I think it was from a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, and it's called James Molloy Deluxe Eyeshadow Quad. But I don't know about the colours really. The pigment was really good because usually the pigment of Beauty Pie palettes is a bit rubbish, but let me just show you. Of course, we've got shimmers again, you see, which that's one shimmer, this one, and that's a non-shimmer, isn't it? A non-shimmer, you know what I mean. So the pigments are good, but I'm just not sure about the colours. Yeah, I think we could declutter this one actually. Right, we've come to a couple of Charlotte Tilbury's now, and this is the Pillow Talk. Yes, again, we've got actually quite a similar issue to the James Molloy Beauty Pie palette because we've got two shimmers, and I just don't like shimmers really. I'm just not a shimmer girl. These are nice, but again, I've got them in other palettes. I think we'll declutter this one. It's not really been used very much. And then this one, oh, this is Pillow Talk Luxury Palette. How very odd. Oh, I think this is the old one that I've had for, oh yeah. This is the one I've had for a long time. But you see, this is different from this Pillow Talk. Yes, it is different because here, this is obviously the old one, the one I've used. These two colours are different, aren't they? And actually it is, yeah, it's not that the same. This is more orangey. I think this is a warmer palette. So what do we say this one's called? The Luxury Pillow. Oh, Pillow Talk Dreams. This is the Pillow Talk Dreams. Right, so that's we're not keeping. And actually, I'm not sure, but who's going to want this? It's had it really, hasn't it? So I think we might just get rid of that one. Sorry, Charlotte. I do love you, but I don't love those palettes. Now, the next four palettes, I know I'm keeping them because I do reach for them. Although there is one I need to reach for more often because it costs an arm and a leg. And I'm not sure that I'm using it very well or very much. And it's the Lisa Eldridge Myth palette that I bought last November when they came out. And in fact, I mean, it is a beautiful palette, but I'm just wondering whether I might switch out a couple of the colours because you can buy the individual colours. I might look at the palette that I originally gravitated towards, which I've forgotten the name of, but I'll put it on the screen when I remember. And it was the more neutrally colours, of course, it would be, wouldn't it? Because it's me. So I might buy a couple of the neutrally ones and replace a couple of these, but it is beautiful. Again, I don't use the shimmers, so I might sort of replace the two shimmers here with two other colours. But just in case you haven't seen this, and I have got a video dedicated to this, so I'll link it down below. But just to show you some of the colours. Sorry, I'm going a bit hoarse. They are beautiful. They're not super, super pigmented though. Not quite as pigmented as some of the other palettes I've got. But it is a beautiful palette. And of course it looks beautiful. And it's Lisa and we love her. And I'm definitely going to have a play about with this a bit more than I have done of late. Now, the next two palettes are these M.A.C palettes. And if you've been watching me for any length of time, you will know that I particularly use the Burgundy palette, which is this one. No, it's this one, sorry. This is the Burgundy £9 palette. And this one is the Dusky Rose £9 palette, and I absolutely love them. I did do a video about them, gosh, over a year ago now, which I'll also link down below for you. They're fantastic colours. This one, the Burgundy one, is the one I reach for all the time. And I actually use this colour on my eyebrows. Now, I know that looks really weird. I've got it on today, actually, because when it goes on my brows, it doesn't make them look too dark. I don't know if you can see. They look a really good colour, and this is all I've got on them, and I used a thin brush to apply. And I think it looks really effective. And if I had to choose just one palette as a desert island, and I think this is in my top 3 video as well, this would be it, because it's got all the colours. It's got some shimmers, but actually the shimmer I do like. I don't use these 2 shimmers particularly, but this one I do use sometimes to go over my eyeliner. So when I've put an eyeliner on, I might put this over the top if it's of an evening I'm going out somewhere. It's just a great palette with really good neutral colours which suit my skin. And this is the Dusky Rose, which for some reason or other I haven't been using as much, but again, it's a great palette. It has really great neutral colours again for my olivey skin, and so I would highly recommend them. I think they're underrated. I don't often see women on YouTube talking about them, but I really recommend checking them out. They're not cheap. They're not drugstore. They're probably around £25 each, I think, which is probably about $30. But everything that I talk about in the video will be listed in a link below, of course. And finally, we come to this Dior Backstage palette, which I bought sometime last year. And I did a video where I talked about this. I think it was in my top 3, but I also did a video, a collaboration with Maggie D, my good friend on YouTube, and talked about this palette. And I do think it is beautiful. It doesn't have too many shimmers. I think this one is the shimmer, but it's not that shimmery, is it? And again, it's not that dissimilar to some of my other colours. And you know what? This is the problem. And I don't know whether you do this. I know I'm guilty of this. I keep buying similar palettes all the time because they're the colours that I gravitate towards. So I end up with very similar colours. And if I was going to go through systematically, like I should do really, and like Tina of Tina's Beautiful Journey does, I would actually work out which colours I've got dupes of, if you know what I mean, in different palettes. But anyway, this is a beautiful palette, and I'm definitely going to keep it. I mean, gosh, it cost me an arm and a leg, so I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon. I just need to use it more. So if you count the Bobbi Brown singles as one palette, which is what I'm going to do, just for the sake of brevity, then I'm keeping 8 palettes and getting rid of 9 palettes because I think there are 17. Well, there are 17 in total. I really hope this video has been helpful to you to see perhaps how we're all perhaps a little bit guilty of buying the same palettes over and over again. I suppose we do that with all our favourite things, really. We don't tend to branch out all that much on things that we're not sure are going to suit us, I guess. And it makes complete sense. However, I feel much more cleansed and much more decluttered now that I've decided to get rid of those other palettes. And I'm hoping now that the idea is that I will use the palettes I've got, all 9 of them, okay, not counting how many little Bobbi Browns we've got, but using all those palettes a lot more regularly and maybe doing some slightly more interesting eye makeup looks. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and do leave me a comment below because I'd love to know, have you gone through this process yourself? Are you like me and buying the same palettes over and over again, but just different brands, different companies? I would really love to know. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.